I got some more new books to share with you. So we're going to start with Brother Eagle, Sister Sky. Brother Eagle, Sister Sky. In a time so long ago that nearly all traces of it are lost in the prairie, thus an ancient people were a part of a land that we love and call America. Living here for thousands of years, their children became the great Indian civilization of the Choctaw, the Cherokee, Navajo, Iroquois, and Sioux, among many others. Then white settlers from Europe began a bloody war against Indians in the span of a single lifetime, claimed all the Indian land for themselves, along them only small traces of land to live on. When the last of the Indian wars were drawing to a close, one of the bravest, more respected chiefs of the North, Northwest nations, Chief Seattle, sat at a white man's table to sign a paper presented by the new Commissioner of Indian Affairs for the treaty. The governor in Washington, D.C. wished to buy the lands of Chief Seattle's people, but the commanding presence, the eyes that mariner the great South they lived within, the chief rose to speak to the gathering in a resounding voice. How can you buy the sky? Chief Seattle began. How can you own the rain and the wind? My mother told me. Every part of this earth is sacred to our people. Every pine needle, every sandy shore, every mist in the dark woods, every meadow and humming insect, all holy in the memory of our people. My father said to me, I know the sap that cures through the trees, as I know the blood that flows in my veins. We are part of the earth. It is part of us. The, the perfumed flowers are our sisters. The bear, the deer, the great eagle, these are our brothers. The rocky crests, the meadows, the ponies all belong to the same family. The voices of my ancestors said to me, the shining water that moves in the stream and rivers is not simply water, but the blood of your grandfather's grandfather. Each ghostly reflection in the clear waters of the lakes tells the memories in the life of our people. The water's murmur is the voice of your great grandmother. The rivers are our brothers. They quench our thirst. They carry our canoes, feed our children. You must give to the rivers the kindness you would give to any brother. The voice of my grandfather said to me, the air is precious. It shares its spirit with all. The life it supports, the wind that gives me my first breath, also received my last sigh. You must keep the land and air apart and sacred as a place where one can go to taste the wind that is sweetened by the meadow flowers. And the last red man and woman have vanished with their wilderness, and their memory is only the shadow of a cloud moving across the prairie. All the shores of forest still be there. Will the shores and forests still be there? Will there be any of the spirit of my people left? My ancestors said to me, "This we know, the earth does not belong to us, we belong here." The voice of my grandmother said to me, "Teach your children what you have been taught. The earth is our mother. That befalls the earth befalls all the sons and daughters of the earth." Hear my voice and the voice of my ancestors, Chief Seattle said. The destiny of your people is a mystery to us. What will happen when the buffalo are all slaughtered, the wild horses tamed? What will happen when the secret corners of the forest are heavy with scent of many men? When the view of the ripe hills is blotted by taking wires, where where will the thicket be gone? Where will the eagle be gone? And what will happen when we say goodbye to the swift pony and the hunt? It will be the end of living and the beginning of survival. As we know, all things are connected like the blood that unites us. We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. We love this earth as a newborn loves its mother's heartbeat. If we sell you our land, care for it as we have cared for it. Hold in your mind the memory of the land as it is when you receive it. Preserve the land and the air and the rivers for your children's children, and love it as we have loved it. The origins of Chief Seattle's words are partly observed by the mists of time. Some call these words a letter, some a speech. What is known is that Chief Seattle was respected and a peaceful leader of one of the Northwest Indian nations. In the mid 1850s, when the government in Washington, D.C. wanted to buy the lands of his exhausted and defeated people, he responded in his native tongue with a natural eloquence stemming from his oral tradition. His words were transcribed by Dr. Henry A. Smith, who knew him well, and the transcription was interpreted and rewritten more than once in this century. Joseph Campbell adapted and brought Chief Seattle's message to a wider audience with his appearance on Bill Meyer's PBS series in the book Power of Myth. I too have adapted Chief Seattle's message for Brother Eagle, Sister Sky. What matters is that Chief Seattle's words inspired and continue to inspire the most compelling truth. In our zeal to build and possess, we may lose all that we have. We have come late to environmental awareness, but there was a thundering message delivered a century ago by many of the great Native American chiefs, among them Black Elk, Red Cloud, and Seattle, to all of the Native American people. Every creature and part of the earth was sacred. It was their belief that to waste our destiny, nature, and its wonders is to destroy life itself. Their words were not understood in their time. Now they haunt us. Now they have come true. Before it is too late, we must listen. Susan Jeffries. The end. Next, we will take a look at, let's see, we can take a look at, let me see what we will read next. Next, we will look at C and K. Cam likes E. Cass likes K. Cassowary. No, it's kiwi bird actually. That's a kiwi bird. I like C. I like K. Mac likes CK. CK, CK, CK. We can all like C and K. Cam and Cass and Mike all like C and K. CK, 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 CK. The end. Okay, let's see. Oh, my first Bible designed especially for children of color. Creation. God saw that the world was all dark. He made the earth, the moon, the stars, and the sun. Then he said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and that was the first day. Adam and Eve. God made all the animals and all the plants on the earth. He made the birds, the bees, the trees with fruits, the trees with just leaves. Then God made a man. He made a woman. And he made a woman. God looked at everything he created and said, "It's all very good." Noah and the ark. There once was a man named Noah. He was a very good man. God told Noah that a lot of rain was coming and that he should build a big boat so that he could float when the rain starts coming and coming. Noah built a big boat to fill all the animals and his whole family. He did everything God said to do, and he did it very carefully too. God told Noah to bring 2 of every animal on earth, 2 by 2. The animals walked aboard. Yes, those were the instructions that came from the Lord. The storm came and the whole earth was flooded. God made it rain and it would not stop for 40 days and 40 nights. It went plop, plop, plop. God protected Noah and his family in the big boat. They had nothing to fear. When the rain stopped, Noah sent out a dove that returned with a twig in his mouth, letting him know that land was near. Everyone left the big boat when the flood waters were gone. Now they had dry land they could all live on. God put a big rainbow way up in the sky to remind us of his promise to never flood the earth again. The birth of Moses. A woman had a baby boy. The baby was in great danger. His mother wanted him to survive, so she put him in a basket to keep him alive. He was placed in the river, and his sister Miriam watched him float to safety. The king's daughter found the baby as he floated nearby. He was wrapped up tight and kept very dry. He was taken into the Egyptian palace where he was named Moses. He was treated with love, kindness, and goodness. Moses grew up to be a strong and brave man. Moses' job was to watch over all the sheep, the ones who got lost and those who fell asleep. God told Moses to help his people go free because they were being treated so badly. His people were slaves to a man who was a bad king. God told the king, "You've been mean long enough. Now let my people go or I'll have to get tough." Moses prayed to God, "Help my people, help them please." God answered Moses' prayer, and the king let the people go. The people walked and walked all the way across the desert to the Red Sea. The people were afraid because the king changed his mind. He said, come back and serve me." The water was deep when they got to the sea. God told Moses, "Do not worry. I will protect you. Hold up your rod and I will part the Red Sea." Moses did what God said. He held up his rod and God said, "Go across. You're free." People celebrated and thanked Moses for being their great leader. David and Goliath. David, a shepherd boy, prepared and got ready to fight. He knew with God's help all he needed to do was use all his might. David thought, "I will gather these stones and shake Goliath's bones." David looked at Goliath and said, "I am going to get you." So he locked his rock and off it flew. Goliath was hit and fell to the ground, and Goliath was dead and he didn't make a sound. Queen of Sheba. The Queen of Sheba brought gifts to Solomon, the king of the son of David. She brought spices, gold, and other beautiful things. Daniel and the lion's den. The king gave Daniel a job to do. He did it so well, others didn't know what to do. So they tricked the king into making a law that all people must bow to the king and to no one else. Daniel said, "No, I cannot keep that law. I only bow to God Almighty." The king passed the new law for everyone to obey, but Daniel did not bow. He said it again, "I only bow to the God Almighty." Daniel remained faithful to God, so the king told his men to put Daniel and his friends in the lion's den. While sitting in the lion's den, Daniel prayed that God would watch over him, and of course, God did. God protected Daniel from the lions. He was not harmed, not even a scratch. Jesus' birth. Mary lived in the town of Nazareth. God sent an angel to tell Mary that she would be the mother of God's only son. He would be named Jesus. When it was time for the baby to be born, Mary and her husband Joseph traveled to the town of Bethlehem. There was no room for Mary and Joseph at the inn. They had to stay in a barn with the animals. When Jesus was born, a bright star was shining to show the world where Jesus lay. On that night, angels came to shepherds in the field and told them that Jesus was born. The shepherds went to the stables to worship and celebrate because King Jesus was born. 3 kings from the east followed the bright star to Bethlehem. They bowed down and worshiped baby Jesus and gave him gifts. Jesus does God's work. When Jesus was a young boy, he would tell everyone about God's love and his power. Sometimes he would talk for hours. Jesus drew big crowds wherever he went, to the lake, to the temple, wherever he was sent. One day, a lot of people were following Jesus. As he was walking through the crowd, a very sick woman reached out and touched him. Jesus turned and asked, "Who touched me?" The woman said, "It was me. You blessed me, and now I'm healthy." There was a man who was blind and could not see. Jesus rubbed mud in his eyes and said, "Now look at me." Everyone was amazed because the man could now see. Both the lady in red and the blind man were healed because they believed in Jesus and his power from God. One day, mommies and daddies brought their children to see Jesus. The disciples tried to make the children go away, but Jesus loves children and he told them to come to him and stay. Children came to see Jesus, the King, to hear the wonderful story that he would bring. Jesus will always be our friend. The end. Okay, let's see. What will we read? Just a Mess by Mercer Mayer. Just a Mess by Mercer Mayer. Today I couldn't find my baseball mitt. I looked under the back steps. I looked in my treehouse. I asked Mom if she had seen it. She said I should try my room. I never thought to look there. What a mess. Mom said it was time to clean my room, so I asked her to help. She said, "You made the mess, so you can clean up the mess." Dad was working in the yard. He said he was too busy to help me. My little sister said, "No way," and the baby didn't understand. I just did it myself. First, I put a few things in the closet. I put my clothes in the drawers. I straightened up my games. I shut the lid to my toy box and put away my books. The rest of the mess could fit under my bed, so I put it there. Then I made the bed. Won't Mom be pleased? I thought I might wash the floor, but Mom said no, so I just vacuumed instead. Everything was just about perfect. Then I noticed my pillow was missing. I looked on the other side of my bed, and guess what I found? My baseball mitt. The end. God keeps you safe. Just like a bird that spreads its wings, God shelters you from scary things. Psalms 91:4. Don't be afraid. God's by your side. Just follow him. He'll be your guide. Deuteronomy 31:8. God's angels will watch over you, 'cause that's their job. It's what they do. Psalms chapter 91:11 and 12. Don't worry what your day might bring, because God can handle anything. Matthew 6:34. If you need help, then say a prayer. Just call on God and he'll be there. Psalms 91:15. Trust in the Lord, he'll guide your way. He'll never let you go astray. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. God will protect you. He's the best. He's with you even when you rest. Psalms 4:8. You never have to be afraid. When God's with you, you've got it made. Isaiah 43:5. The end. Sea monsters of long ago. Sea monsters of long ago. Millions and millions of years ago, at the time of the dinosaurs, strange-looking animals lived in the sea. Like the dinosaurs, these animals were reptiles. Some of them were small, others were giant-sized. Some looked like fish. Some looked like huge lizards, and some looked like turtles with very long necks. We know what they looked like because their skeletons have been found in rocks. The first skeleton was found by a 12-year-old girl more than 150 years ago. One day she saw some bones in the rock at the edge of a cliff. Scientists found out it was the skeleton of an ichthyosaur. Its name means fish lizard. It looked like a fish, but it had the bones of a reptile. Later, scientists found hundreds of other ichthyosaur skeletons. Some of the skeletons had the skin preserved around the bones. You can tell exactly what this reptile must have looked like 150 million years ago. If you could see an ichthyosaur today, you might think it was a dolphin or a shark. Its long mouth was full of sharp teeth. Its body was shaped like a fish. It had a tail like a fish, but it did not have gills like a fish. It had lungs like all reptiles, so it had to come to the surface to get air. From the bones, we know that ichthyosaurs could swim very fast. Some ichthyosaur skeletons had tooth marks on them. The marks show that they often fought with each other, or they may have fought with other sea reptiles. How did the ichthyosaurs have their young? Scientists know that baby dinosaurs hatched from eggs and laid on land. Ichthyosaurs lived in the sea, and reptile eggs can't last long in water. For a while, it was a puzzle. Then some new skeletons were found that gave the answer. The skeletons had baby skeletons inside them. This showed that ichthyosaurs kept their eggs inside their bodies till they hatched. Then the young were born alive right into the sea. Not all ichthyosaurs looked alike. Many ichthyosaurs were about 10 feet long, about the size of a car, but one ichthyosaur grew 43 feet, about the size of a city bus. Its name was Leptotyrgius. One ichthyosaur had much bigger eyes than the others. Its eyes were as big as cereal bowls. Its name was Ophthalmosaurus. One ichthyosaur looked like a swordfish. Its upper jaw was much longer than the lower one. Its name was Urinosaurus. There were other strange reptiles in the sea at the same time as the ichthyosaurs. They were called plesiosaurs. They had bodies like giant turtles, small heads on very long necks. They looked like the dragons of fairy tales. This giant plesiosaur was called a Elasmosaurus. It was as long as 4 automobiles. Its neck alone was 2 stories high. It could reach out very far to grab fish. Its mouth was full of sharp teeth. It had 4 large flippers. The flippers moved like oars. Elasmosaurus had to breathe air. Most likely, it paddled along just below the surface of the water. Although most of the plesiosaurs had long necks, there were some with short necks, long, powerful skulls. The biggest one of these was Kronosaurus. Its head It was about the size of an average whale. Its head alone was 10 feet long. Its teeth were sharp as knives. Kronosaurus hunted other sea reptiles. there were still other kinds of giant reptiles in the sea. They were called mosasaurs. They looked like giant lizards. One of them was called Tylosaurus. It was 30 feet long, as big as a great white shark. It had a thick, heavy body that flipped from side to side as it swam through the water. It really looked like a monster with its huge head, huge jaws, and large mouth filled with sharp teeth. In the islands of the Pacific Ocean, there is a relative of the mosasaurs. It's called the Komodo dragon. It is the largest living lizard in the world today, but it is only 10 feet long, 1/3 the size of Tyrannosaurus. What happened to the Tylosaurs and all the other strange reptiles that lived in the sea? They swam in the oceans of the world until about 70 million years ago. Then they disappeared just as the dinosaurs did. Nobody knows why. This chart shows when the sea monsters lived. The end. The Going to Bed Book by Sandra Button. The sun has set not long ago. Now everybody goes below to take a bath in one big tub with soap all over. Scrub, scrub, scrub. They hang their towels on the wall and find pajamas, big and small. With some on top and some beneath, they brush and brush and brush their teeth. And when the moon is on the rise, they all go up to exercise. And down once more, and not so fast. They're on their way to bed at last. The day is done. They say good night, and somebody turns off the light. The moon is high, the sea is deep. They rock and rock and rock to sleep. The end. This is called Young Cam Jansen and the Missing Cookie. Young Cam Jansen and the Missing Cookie. The school bell rang. It was time. Chapter 1. Click. The school bell rang. It was time for lunch. Mrs. D told the class, "Don't go yet. First copy your homework." Mrs. D wrote 6 math problems on the chalkboard. The children in the class copied them, but not Cam Jansen. Cam looked at the board. She closed her eyes and said, "Click." Cam always closes her eyes and says click when she wants to remember something. Then Cam opened her eyes. She waited for her friend Eric Shelton. He was copying the homework. When he was done, Cam and Eric went to the lunchroom. Jason Jones sat with Cam and Eric. Jason said to Cam, "You didn't copy the homework." Cam smiled. "I don't need to copy," Cam said. "I remember it." Jason said, "No one can remember all those numbers." Eric said, "Oh yes, Cam has an amazing memory." Click, then she read off all the numbers. "So what?" Jason said. "I didn't bring my notebook. Maybe those are the wrong numbers." Cam's eyes were still closed. She said, "Click again." "Jason," she said, "you're wearing a polka dot shirt. There are 7 polka dots on your shirt pocket." Jason counted the dots on his pocket. Cam was right. "And there are lots of short white hairs on your right sleeve." "Those are Emily's hairs," Jason said. "She's my dog. I played with her this morning." Jason brushed off some of the hairs. Then he said, "You didn't remember all that. Why are you peeking? I'll prove it." Cam's eyes are still closed. Jason took a piece of paper from his pocket. He wrote, "Say yes if you want a chocolate chip cookie." Jason held the paper in front of Cam. She didn't say yes, but Eric said yes. "No," Jason told him. "I wrote this only for Cam. If she didn't say yes to a chocolate chip cookie, maybe she's not peeking. Maybe she really does have an amazing memory." Chapter 2, The Missing Cookie. Cam opened her eyes. "The memory is like a camera," Cam said. "I have a picture in my head of everything I've seen. Click is the sound my camera makes when it takes a picture. And I say click again, and I want to remember something." Cam's real name is Jennifer because of her great memory. People started to call her the camera. Then the camera became just Cam. Cam took a cheese sandwich out of her lunch bag. Eric took out a jelly sandwich. Jason had a lunchbox. He opened it and took out an egg salad sandwich. "Hey," Jason said, "where is my chocolate chip cookie?" Cam and Eric looked into Jason's lunchbox. There were cookie crumbs inside it, but no cookie. Jason said, "Last night I put the cookie in my lunchbox. Now it's gone. Someone stole my chocolate chip cookie." Chapter 3, Stop Him. "But who would steal a cookie?" Cam said. Jason said, "During class, my lunchbox was in the closet. Anyone could have opened it. Maybe Pam took the cookie. She sits near the closet for lunch. She only gets a sandwich and carrot sticks." Eric shook his head. "It wasn't Pam," he said. "I baked sugar cookies. I gave her one, but she wouldn't eat it. She doesn't like cookies." Cam said, "Your sugar cookies were burned. That's why she didn't want one." Jason looked around the lunchroom. "Look at Susie," he said. Susie was eating a big round cookie. "That may be my cookie." Susie was at the other end of the room. Jason walked over to her. Cam said to Eric, "I think Susan would. I didn't think Susan would steal." Cam bit into her sandwich. She sipped her milk and thought, "Jason, come back to the table." Susie was eating an oatmeal cookie, he said. She baked it herself. Cam ate some more of her sandwich. A few crumbs dropped onto the table. Eric told Jason, "Lots of people have big cookies for lunch." "Not like mine," Jason said. "My dad made it. It had lots and lots of chocolate chips." Cam looked at the sandwich crumbs that were on the table. When she closed her eyes, she said, "Click." She wanted to remember something. Jason looked at the next table. He saw Anna take a big cookie from her lunchbox. Jason said, "Look at all the chocolate chips in that cookie. That's the cookie Dad baked for me." Jason ran to Anna's table. Cam opened her eyes. "Stop him," Cam said. "Anna didn't take his cookie, but I know who did." Chapter 4, The Thief. It was too late to stop Jason. He was already at Anna's table. Cam dropped her sandwich. She ran to Anna's table. Eric followed her. Anna was about to eat the chocolate chip cookie. Cam, Eric, and Jason were looking at Anna. Other children were looking too. "My birthday is tomorrow," Anna said. "Are you here to surprise me?" "That's so nice." "I'm not here to be nice," Jason said. "Stop," Cam said. "I know who took your cookie." "I know too," Jason said. "Anna took it." Anna looked at her cookie. Then she said, "I took this from home. It's mine." Anna bit into her chocolate chip cookie. Cookie crumbs fell to the table. "Anna's right," Cam said. "It is her cookie." Cam looked inside Anna's lunchbox. She told Eric and Jason to look inside Anna's lunchbox too. "Dude, it's empty," they said. Cam said, "Now let's look in Jason's lunchbox. Cam, Eric, and Jason went back to their table. They looked in Jason's lunchbox. It's empty too, Eric said. No, it's not, Cam said. She turned the lunchbox upside down and crumbs fell into the table. You had crumbs in there because your cookie was eaten while it was still inside your lunchbox. Who ate a cookie that way? Jason asked. Cam pointed to the short white hairs on Jason's sleeve and said, a dog would eat a cookie that way. Of course, Jason said. It was Emily. She ate my cookie. She'll eat anything. Cam, Eric, and Jason finished eating their sandwiches. Then Eric said to Jason, I'm sorry your cookie is gone. You can have some of mine. Eric gave Jason 2 sugar cookies. Thank you, said Jason. He looked at the cookies. He gave them back to Eric. You're a good friend, Jason said, but you're not a good baker. Cam was right. Your cookies are burned. Even Emily wouldn't eat them. Well, I would, Eric said, and he did. The end. Three falafels in my pita. Accounting Book of Israel. One cable car going up Masada, 2 friends playing paddleball on the beach. Three falafels in my pita, 4 camels resting in the shade. Five tall buildings in Tel Aviv, 6 swimmers snorkeling in Eilat. 7 watermelons for sale at Shuk. 8 notes placed in the western wall. 9 oranges growing on the tree. 10 children dancing the hora. The end. Let's see what I'll read next. Raindrops to rainbows. Raindrops to rainbows. Raindrops to rainbows. Plip plop, plip plop, plip plip plop. Will these raindrops ever stop? I want a calm, clear blue sky so I can go outside and play. I miss the yellow summer sun. I miss the laughter, miss the fun. Yellow and blue. Now I stare out at the rain. My breath fogs up the window pane. The sky is damp and dull and gray, with more dark rain clouds on the way. Rumble, rolling, scatter, thunder, grab green blankets, scramble under, find brown bear and hold him tight, try to chase away my fright. White lightning streaks across the sky. I duck my head and close my eyes. Mom gives Bear and me a hug. I feel safer. I feel snug. Mom makes up a game she calls Count Each Blue Raindrop as it falls. No way, I say, it can't be done. Mom smiles. Let's try, it could be fun. One drop, two drops, thousands, millions, maybe 2 or 3 gazillion. Raindrops splashing down to the ground make gray puddles all around. Mom makes soup for us to eat, and orange slices, what a treat. Look outside, the clouds are clearing. First I'm smiling, then I'm cheering. Pull red rain boots on our feet. Find some puddles by the street. Stomp, 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 those puddles dry. Then I look up at the sky. Beaming rainbow, bold and bright, brilliant color. Beaming rainbow, bold and bright, brilliant colors. What a sight. Seven stripes, I know each one. I named them just for fun. I see violet, then indigo. 5 more colors left to go. Blue and green stripes cross the sky, so bright I have to shade my eyes. Yellow, orange, then comes red, orange, yellow. 7 colors overhead. Reach for the rainbow bright and wide, then it's time to go inside. When I climb into bed, I'm glad, thinking of the day we've had. I don't mind rain because I know without raindrops there's no rainbow. The end. The Little Book of Big Monsters, Simon Big. Simon Big likes to do many things. You should hear him when he sings. Simon Big can jump up high. He wonders what it's like to fly. Simon Big loves to draw. If he's not careful, he'll tear it with his claws. Simon Big likes to swim in the lake. For his birthday, his mom made him a fish cake. Simon Big reads a book every night. If he's hungry, he'll take a bite. The end. Paddington's prize picture. Paddington's prize picture. One morning, Mrs. Brown sent Paddington to the market to buy some oranges. Paddington was well known in the market. The traders always saved their best fruit for him, and he always thanked them for it. When he was done shopping, Paddington visited his friend Mr. Gruber. Mr. Gruber's store was filled with old things, but he always had something new to show Paddington. Mr. Gruber was very busy. He was painting a painting. One and one half Paddington saw a picture of a boat. On the other half, Paddington saw what looked like a hat. Just you wait, said Mr. Gruber. There's more to come. I've never seen a picture like this before, said Paddington. That's because one picture is hidden under another, Mr. Gruber said. Paddington had a great idea. He hurried home as fast as his legs would carry him. Paddington looked for the picture Mr. Brown had been painting. He wondered if it had another picture under it too. Paddington began to clean the boats, and the blue sky disappeared, but there was nothing underneath. Beautiful picture was now a stormy sea. Paddington decided to fix it. He found some brushes and an old box of paints. Paddington set to work. He started to paint the boats in the lake and carefully filled in the spots he had cleaned. Paddington stepped back to look at his work. There was no lake, there was no boats. He reached for the paints and began again. Paddington that evening was covered with orange spots. "I hope you're not getting sick," said Mrs. Brown. She sent him to bed early, just in case. The next morning everyone was happy to see that Paddington's spots were gone. "I have news, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, I've entered a painting contest. You all must come to the show." The art show began. The judges looked at all the paintings. Mr. Brown loved painting, but he had never won a prize. This could be it, he said. The whole family was excited. The judge announced the winner. It was Mr. Brown, but Mr. Brown looked confused. "This is not my painting," said Mr. Brown. "There must be some mistake." Paddington's painting won on Mr. Brown's canvas. Paddington's painting on Mr. Brown's canvas won first prize. The judge showed Mr. Brown his name written on the back. Mr. Brown accepted his prize. "I think I will donate my prize to the Home for Retired Bears in Peru," he said. Paddington beamed. "My Aunt Lucy will be pleased. She likes happy endings." "Don't we all?" said Mrs. Bird. The end. Paddington at the Seaside. Paddington at the Seaside. Paddington at the Seaside. "Today," said Mr. Brown at breakfast one bright summer morning, "feels like the kind of day for taking a young bear to the seaside. Hands up, all those who agree." Jonathan, Judy, and Mrs. Brown all put up their hands, and Paddington raised both of his paws. Well, just to make sure. Everyone was excited, and by the time they set out, the Browns' car was so full of things there was scarcely room to move. Paddington carefully fastened his seat belt and then peered out the window as he felt the car turn a corner. "Are we nearly there, Mr. Brown?" he asked hopefully. Mr. Brown removed his shovel handle from his left ear. "I'm afraid not," he said gloomily. We've only just left Windsor Gardens, and it's a very long way to the sea." Mr. Brown was right. It was a long journey. But when they reached the seaside, the sight of the sand and the water soon made up for it. Paddington gave an excited sniff as he climbed out of the car. Even the air had a different smell. "That's because it's special seaside air." "That's because it's special seaside air," said Mrs. Brown. "It's very good for you." Paddington looked around anxiously as Mr. Brown began laying out the beach things. "I hope all the air doesn't get used up, Mrs. Brown," he said in a loud voice, and he gave a man who was doing some deep breathing a very hard stare indeed. "Come on, Paddington," called Judy. "Let's go for a swim." It took Paddington a while to get ready. He wasn't the sort of bear who believed in taking chances. By the time he went into the sea, he was wearing so many things he promptly sank. "No wonders," cried Judy as she went to his rescue. "You haven't been bothered to blow up your paw bands. Fancy wearing a duffel coat," explained Jonathan. "I thought the water might be cold," gasped Paddington. After his paw bands had been properly blown up, Paddington went into the water again, and with some help from Jonathan and Judy, he was soon swimming very well indeed. After his swim, Paddington settled down in a deck chair in order to dry out. He had barely closed his eyes when he heard something very strange going on behind him. First there was a loud cry. Then there was the sound of people booing. They were watching Mr. Briggs, Punch, and Judy, explained Mrs. Brown. Benton jumped up and looked at the others as if he could hardly believe his ears. But Mr. and Mrs. Brown seemed much too busy with the picnic things to be bothered, so he turned and hurried up the beach towards the spot where the noise was coming from. "Where's Paddington?" asked Jonathan, when he and Judy arrived back shortly afterwards, carrying ice cream cones and an ice cream stick. "I hate I hope he's not long," said Judy. "I brought him a special giant cone. He'll be most upset if it all melts." Jonathan glanced up and down the beach. "Crikey," he said. "Suddenly, look over there." The Browns gave a gasp as they turned to follow the direction of Jonathan's gaze. Something very odd seemed to be going on inside the Punch and Judy tent. There was a large bugle in one side, and it was heaving up and down almost as if it were alive. Suddenly the tent began moving across the sand, scattering people in all directions. It just missed a large sand castle, went twice around the ice cream man, and then headed towards the sea. "Quick!" shouted Judy. "Let's cut it off." But she was too late. "Paddington!" cried Judy, as a familiar figure swam into the water. "What on earth are you doing? What's the second time? That's the second time I've had to rescue you." Paddington stared at her a minute. "But I want to rescue you," exclaimed Mrs. Brown. "Said you're being punished by Mr. Briggs." Punched. "You were being punched by Mr. Briggs." Mr. Brown looked at Paddington in astonishment. Then her face cleared. "I didn't say Mr. Briggs was punching Judy," she explained. "I said it was his punching Judy." "It's a puppet theatre," said Judy. "They often give them at the seaside. There's one puppet called Mr. Punch. When he gets cross, all the audience have to boo." If it took the Browns a long time to explain a Punch and Judy show to Paddington, it took them even longer to explain Paddington to Mr. Briggs. And when he saw the enormous crowd watching them the from the performance Mendes, his face lit up. It was the biggest audience he had for a long time, and he decided to make the most of it by putting another show on then. "And there you can have a seat in the front row," he said to Paddington. "I expect bears to do very good booze." On the way, another Paddington One way and another, Paddington enjoyed his day out at the seaside. But all good things come to an end. When it was time to leave, he stood for a moment holding up an empty marmalade jar. "I'm just collecting some sea air for the journey home," he announced. "I think I'll sleep so well on the way back I may lose all of today's air with my snores." The end. Peter's dream. Peter's dream. Peter has a new boat. Now he can sail the seas. He can sail so far off lands where he has no one to please. He dreamed he sailed to places where the pirates sailed before. He looked for lost treasures on the ocean floor. Sea animals did not scare him, they all became his friends. They led him to a strange land where no one had ever been. The land is in another world. No one lives there but girls and boys. There is no one there to tell them they must share their toys. There is no one to tell them when and what to eat. There is no one to tell them when to go to sleep. There is no one there to tell them the right things to wear. And if they get all dirty, no one really cares. There is no one there to help them when there is a fight. There is no one there to hug them and make them. There is no one there to hug them and make everything all right. And when they have a bad dream, there is no one to turn on the light. Mom, the end. Construction site, road crew coming through. Construction site, road crew coming through. 6 mighty friends are on their way to help with something big today. They're off to work on something new. To join the big road building crew, there's a great job. There's a giant job to do. Compactor, scraper, and grader cheer, honk. Roller and striper get into gear, vroom. Water truck is set to go, and pavers, pipes both snort and blow, huff. Rumble, reeving, shaking ground, all the trucks now gather around. They'll make a route from here to there with careful planning, thought, and care. The team will build it load by load, super highway, mighty road. Excavator to begin gets to work by digging in, scooping heavy loads with ease. He lifts out the boulders and trash and trees. Skid steer's doing her part too, and in no time at all they're through. They clear tons of loads today, and dump truck hauls them all away. Big bulldozer rolls on side, pushing through with all his might, cleaning stumps and rocks and rubble, ripping, tearing without trouble. Then sturdy scraper has its hand to move the earth and reshape land. With care and speed she rolls along, cutting clear and smooth and strong. With her sharp and rugged blade, the embankment and roadbed are made. When the grit begins to fly, Water Duck is standing by. Her jets squirt water on the ground so dust and dirt won't blow around. She's keeping the air clear today so all trucks can see their way. Compactor has the job he likes, rolling, squishing with his spikes. His heavy wheels push down hard, something mashy yard by yard. Now, guard, now Grader knows just what to do. Her blade will easily cut through, leveling each bump and groove. She levels the surface flat and smooth. Her hopper's filled now, paved, ready, slowly rolling, strong and steady. Her screed arms lays a asphalt down. A strong new layer on the ground, spreading blacktop all the way. She'll cover this whole road today. Pushing, squishing, and just like that, he makes the surface hard and flat. Roller 22-ton load goes over every inch of road, back and forth until he's done. He smashes down on every ton. Now a bridge and overpass need strong concrete so it will last. Cement mixers drives onto the scene, pouring each load smooth and clean. Then he starts the curb and gutter. He churns and pours without a shudder, lining both sides of the street with miles and miles of fresh concrete. Crane truck hangs the signs and lights and sets them in all straight and tight. He holds them firmly; they won't sway on this very windy day. And now, before the work's complete, stripper truck will mark the streets. Striper truck will mark the streets. Ribbon sprays on clean and bright. Some are yellow, some are white. Solid double and dashed lines show all traffic where to go. There's just one more thing to do. Let the traffic all drive through. The road is open up at last, and all the cars can go past. Everyone is on their way, heading home to end their day. The trucks turned back to look and smile. This was awesome every mile. This great big job was tough but fun, and now they drive off one by one, proud that they've done their best. The trucks roll home to get some rest. Away they rumble out of sight. Good job, road builders, and good night. The end. The end. Take a look at some more books tomorrow. Okay? We'll do another live we're going to be doing lives until all the books are finished from being read. Alright, bye for now. Bye.